The note arrived folded into the shape of a paper sparrow, tucked inside Ochako's boot after morning training, and she almost missed it entirely because she'd stopped expecting Toga to reach her anywhere but the rooftop. She unfolded it in the girls' locker room, heart hammering before she'd even read a word, because nobody else knew to fold paper that way. It was a game they'd invented weeks ago, trading small ciphers back and forth like children passing notes in class, except the stakes were considerably higher than detention. The message was short. Numbers first, referencing pages of a hero history textbook they'd both pretended to read on a stolen afternoon, each digit pointing to a word buried in dense paragraphs about quirk registration laws. Ochako worked it out with a pencil stub and trembling hands, translating in the corner where Tsuyu wouldn't see. Need you, not for fun this time. Old Warehouse, River District tonight. Come alone or don't come at all. No teasing emoji doodled in the margin. No boast about how clever she'd been to invent the code. Just those words, stripped down to something urgent and frightened, and Ochako had never once seen Toga frightened, not even when she talked about blood, about monsters, about being called one since childhood. She sat through the rest of her classes without absorbing a single lecture. Present Mike's voice became static. Aizawa's warnings about vigilance and loyalty, usually delivered with a pointed glance her way lately, as though he suspected something he couldn't yet name, slid past her like water over stone. "You're distracted," Deku said at lunch, sliding his tray across from hers with the easy familiarity of someone who'd known her since they were 15 and reckless and certain the world made sense. "Everything okay?" "Fine," she said, too quickly, and hated how his brow furrowed at that, how Ida's chopsticks paused midair, how even Tsuyu's flat stare seemed to sharpen. "Just tired. Exams." "You aced the exams," Deku said. "Exhausting being perfect," she tried, and got a laugh out of him, which felt like theft, taking his trust and spending it on a lie. By evening, she'd convinced herself 12 different times not to go. Warehouses in the River District meant League territory, meant real danger instead of rooftop danger, meant crossing a line that couldn't be walked back from the way a stolen conversation could. She thought about Aizawa's eyes. She thought about the badge she'd worked years for, still unearned, still provisional, still hers to lose. Then she thought about Toga's voice cracking slightly on not for fun this time, and she was already pulling her jacket over civilian clothes, already climbing out the dormitory window into a night thick with humidity and the smell of coming rain. The warehouse was exactly the kind of place horror stories were built from, corrugated metal peeling with rust, a single security light flickering like a dying heartbeat over a door hanging crooked on its hinges. Ochako's gravity-canceling instinct hummed under her skin, ready, though she told herself she wouldn't need it, though every step forward argued otherwise. Toga was inside, pressed into a corner behind stacked crates, and when she saw Ochako, she didn't smile the way she always smiled. Her sleeve was dark and wet in a way that had nothing to do with rain. A gash ran along her forearm, shallow but ugly, the kind of wound that came from running through something rather than fighting it directly. "You came," Toga breathed, and it wasn't teasing, wasn't a dare. It sounded like relief so large it frightened her to feel it. "What happened?" Ochako dropped to her knees, already reaching for the sleeve, forgetting every rule about maintaining distance from villain affiliates that had been drilled into her since first year. "Doesn't matter. Job went bad. People I work with, they're not exactly forgiving of mistakes." Toga's laugh came out thin, nothing like its usual wild music. "I need somewhere to lay low, a few days, maybe less. I can't go back to any of our usual spots, they'll be watched." "Toga, this isn't. I can't hide you from hero agencies, I can't just." "I'm not asking you to be my hero." The word came out sharp, almost accusing. "I'm asking you to be my friend. There's a difference, Ochako-chan, and I need you to remember it right now." Ochako's hands stilled on the makeshift bandage she'd been tying, some scrap of cloth torn from her own jacket. Somewhere beyond the warehouse walls, Sirens wailed faintly, and she couldn't tell if they were coming closer or simply passing by, indifferent to the two of them crouched in the dark. "If I help you," she said slowly, "really help you, there's no taking that back. You understand that? I can't unknow what I'm choosing." "I know." Toga's eyes, gold even in shadow, held hers without flinching. "That's why I almost didn't send it. I sat there for an hour deciding whether I even had the right to ask. But you did anyway. Because I trust you more than I trust anyone who's supposed to be on my side." Toga's voice dropped, rough at the edges. "Because you're the only person who's ever made me feel like maybe I'm not just the thing everyone decided I was before I got the chance to be anything else." Outside, the sirens faded. Rain finally broke against the tin roof, a sudden percussion that swallowed smaller sounds, and Ochako found herself thinking not of Aizawa's warnings or Deku's trusting face or the badge still unearned in her future, but only of the warmth of Toga's hand closing around her wrist, desperate and grateful all at once. "Okay," she said, and felt the words settle into her chest like a stone dropped into still water, sending ripples toward a shore she couldn't yet see. "Okay, let's get you somewhere safe."